Hey everybody, Griff Hamlin here. Today's lesson was inspired by an email I got about, well, I'm sure this is a classic old tune. I don't know who originally recorded it or who originally wrote it. It's Oklahoma Sweetheart, and the version that I'm using is George Thorogood. And what it demonstrates is a couple of techniques that are really powerful with your strumming. In particular, the ability to use sort of a percussive element to your strum in order to kind of give almost like a drum is playing with you. And the other part of it that was kind of cool is there's a little fill that he uses while playing the C chord, and it's just really just a little flick of the middle finger to give it a little more character and a little more flavor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first kind of play it through, let you hear what it sounds like, and then I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so there's a couple of different things that go on there. The first is the overall general strum pattern. Now, by the way, I didn't play the chords exactly right. It's fairly lengthy. There's a lot of words and stuff. I kind of shortened it up, but you could easily expand it and put words over it and do whatever you need to do. So the first thing is let's start with the basic strum pattern. So if you grab a C chord, and I'm going to assume that you can play a C, an F, a G, and an A minor. Those are the four chords in this. If you can't already play those chords, you probably aren't ready for this lesson anyway. So we're going to assume that you can play those four chords. So I'm doing C, I'm doing F like this. The reason that I'm doing it like this and not with a bar is because I'm going to lift up my middle finger and I need the open G string to ring out. Okay, so it's basically a bar F, except that I only bar the top two strings, and I don't ever hit the sixth string, or I mute it out. My third finger's kind of hitting it, and my thumb is hitting it. C, A minor, and G. So hopefully you're already familiar with those chords. Assuming that you are, let's move on. The strum pattern, the basic underlying strum pattern here is this. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? It's really important that the arm moves on every count regardless of whether or not it hits any strings. That's so critical to making this kind of stuff work. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now the and of 4, maybe you strike the strings, maybe you don't. It really doesn't matter. Okay, you can sort of make a habit of not hitting them or make a habit of hitting them. A lot of times when we're changing chords, you kind of want to let that last half a beat be where you change chords. So I'll kind of show you how that goes. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now notice how right now it has a little bit of motion, but it's just sort of loud all the time. Okay? So what I'm going to do is on beat 2, I'm going to do that. And basically I'm going to flop my right hand down across the strings and let my pick drag across. So it's just a percussive sound. My left hand doesn't do anything. Now when I add that in, I get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now that might not sound like anything just yet, but watch what happens when I speed it up. of a sudden now it's got a lot more motion to it. Now, a very common thing to do is to also do this on beat 4. It's not how this particular song feels, but you could do it that way and it would still sound great. With the little fills and stuff, or the little variation that we're going to stick in, it doesn't really work out. But let me show you how that goes. So I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a little bit faster, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Now the reason that works so well is because beats 2 and 4 are commonly where the snare drum hits. So you're basically creating the sound of the drum without the drum actually being there. And it really makes things sound better. It gives you a little bit of motion in the song. It just kind of really varies it up. So we're going to go ahead and continue on, and I'm going to show you the little, that little thing that we do in the C chord. So I have my C chord. All that's going to happen, so the beginning is fine. Now one thing that I can do is at the very beginning is just lift up my middle finger. Now if I do that, I'm going to do it on beats. On 1 is going to be open. On and, my hand is going to come up. My middle finger is going to hammer that note on. I'm not going to strum it again. 1 and. Okay, that's very important. 1. If I strum it, it doesn't have the same effect. 1 and 2 and 3. Now I'm going to lift up my middle finger again, and 4. And on 4, I'm going to strum open and then immediately hammer it down on the 3rd string. Okay, so I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Okay, so there's kind of a lot of things going on at once, but it's all just the middle finger hammering on to either the 4th or the 3rd string. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Okay? Now, the more you get this up to speed, the better that it sounds. When you're first practicing this and you're going very slowly, there's a lot of ringing and a lot of open strings, and you're probably going to wonder, you know, maybe if Griff's not, you know, having a hard day. So truly, when you speed it up, it sounds a lot better. And that works a lot better, obviously. Now, when I go to the F, I'm going to do the same kind of thing. On that first beat, 1 and. So I lift up my middle finger, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Okay, and that's really all there is to it. The other 2 chords are A minor and G. You can look them up, and there's really nothing to do there unless on the A minor you can lift up your first finger. That's a common thing. On G, there's nothing in that particular song, but you can do the same kind of thing with your first finger. It can sound a little muddy because it's just such a low string. Sounds a lot better on the C. Okay, so I hope you are able to kind of incorporate that into some of your playing. You know, that strum pattern could work for literally dozens of different songs. And what I encourage you to do is just, you know, take a, I used to have one of those big giant songbooks, you know, that just has chords. They're commonly called piano, vocal, guitar, or vocal, guitar, piano arrangements. And all they do is have chords, you know, and you just pick a song that you know is sort of about that tempo, and you put this chord, this strum pattern over it, and it sounds great. You know, it's just there's so many songs that you can just strum like that. So I really hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next video.